Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, guys. How are you? And tonight, guess what time it is? It's bedtime story time with Miss Doris. So, but before we get ready to read our story, I like to greet everyone all over the world. I like to say hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and to some good night. Someone is going to bed somewhere in the world. But guess what? You are just in time for story time with Miss Doris. This month is the month of Black History Month, so we are going to be reading Black history, some of our greatest achievement from some of our Black activists. So this month we're going to be doing Black history all month for the month of February. So I'm going to go ahead on and get started. So tonight we're going to be reading, we're going to be celebrating some of our most influential African American leaders that we're going to be celebrating, the most influential ones, the leaders of tonight. So the ones with their greatest achievement. So go ahead on and get ready for bed and just enjoy this Black history story of achievement. Being a leader isn't always easy. It often requires you to overcome adversity, face challenges head on, and fight for what is right. In celebration of Black History Month, we are highlighting some of the most influential African American leaders who did just that, their greatest achievement. There is something to be learned from each and every one of these powerful agents of change, most notable of which are their efforts to make the world a better place and to take a stand against injustice, inequity, and adversity. These leaders have also had a significant impact in shaping the world we live in today. The first one we're going to be reading is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Most of the well-known civil rights leaders, Dr. Martin Luther King was a Baptist minister and activist who fought against racial inequity. The King was a proponent of nonviolence and peaceful protest. He was one of the founders of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, which aims to achieve racial equity peacefully. He went down in history as a hero and one of the most influential leaders in the world. Our next leader we're going to be reading about is Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was a civil rights activist in Alabama and the secretary of the Montgomery chapter of the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP. Parks is known most for her refusal to give up her seat to a white man, is known most for her refusal to give up her seat, and that was on the bus in Montgomery, Alabama, which inspired the Montgomery bus boycott. This boycott brought about the ruling by the Supreme Court that segregation on public buses is unconstitutional. Our next leader we're going to be reading about is Barack Obama. Barack Obama was the 44th president of the United States, and he was the very first African American president. He served 2 terms and made several noteworthy accomplishments. Obama worked to strengthen the economy during the global financial crisis, championed health care reform with the passage of Affordable Care Act, and won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2009 for his efforts to improve the international relations, just to name a few. The next one we're going to read about is Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass taught himself to read and write at a young age. After escaping slavery, he became an author, a public speaker, and a prominent leader of the abolitionist movement. In addition to his abolitionary work, Douglass who also supported and advocated for women's rights. The next one we're going to read about is Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is a famous television producer and personality, philanthropist, and author. She is the first African American woman to have her very own TV production company. Winfrey worked to pass the National Child Protection Act and has created and contributed to numerous nonprofit organizations that support, educate, and empower women and children. The next one we're going to be reading is Harriet Tubman, a brave leader during the Underground Railroad movement. Harriet Tubman escaped from slavery and spent 11 years guiding other enslaved people to freedom through the Underground Railroads as a conductor. Tubman was also a spy, scout, nurse, and a soldier during the Civil War for the Union Army. Wow, awesome. The next one we're going to read is Medgar Evers. Medgar Evers was a World War II veteran and civil rights leader. He was the NAACP's first field officer in Mississippi. He helped lead protests against the segregation of public primary schools, breaches, parks, and at the University of Mississippi. Evers also organized voters registration drivers and started new NAACP chapters in Mississippi. Wow. Jackson Robinson. As a player for the Brooklyn Dodgers, Jackie Robinson was the first African American professional baseball player in the U.S. Major League of Baseball. After he retired, Robertson was dedicated to civil rights activism and worked to raise money for both the NAACP and SCLC. The next reader we're going to be reading is Booker T. Washington. Born into slavery, Booker T. Washington overcame many barriers that were blocking him from getting an education. After his family gained freedom through the Emancipation Proclamation, there were both no schools in his area. However, he didn't let that stop him. Instead, he walked 500 miles to enroll in school at the Hampton Institute. Washington excelled academically and became the first teacher and principal at the Tuskegee Institute. In addition, he was an author, advisor to several presidents, and one of the most influential African American public speakers in his day. Shirley Chisholm, the first African American woman who elected to serve in Congress in 1968. Shirley Chisholm was the first African American woman to seek the U.S. presidential nomination from a majority party. She co-founded a Congressional Black Caucus, which is designed to guarantee equal rights, opportunities, and access for African Americans and other marginalized groups. Wow. Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was one of the greatest professional boxers of all time. He was an Olympic gold medalist and the first fighter to win the world heavyweight title 3 times. He was also a philanthropist, humanitarian, and an activist that advocated for civil rights and religious freedom. Ali earned the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2005 and supported organizations like the Make-A-Wish Foundation and the Special Olympiads. Wow, that was an awesome reading on today of the greatest accomplishments on our African American leaders. Well, I hope you guys have an awesome night and enjoy your evening. We shall see you on Friday, February 3rd, 2023. Don't forget to smile. If you're not smiling on tonight, I hope once you see my Storytime smile, you're smiling. Take care. Have an awesome, awesome evening. Make sure you are still practicing safety, safety first. Take care. Good night, and God bless you all. Have an awesome night.